Greetings. Today we discuss our version of Alan Menken's The Bells of Notre Dame, the legacy of the Baja Men, and so much more on this episode of Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast.
Ahoy, boogers! Welcome to episode 2 of Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast.
Attack of the Clones.
Judgment Day.
Welcome. Terminator episode 2, Judgment Day. Attack of the Clones. Last week we did instrumental songs. This week we've got a brand new cover for you guys.
Brand new cover!
That nobody asked for.
Yay.
Anyways, we got the usual suspects here. I suspect that they're the usual suspects. We have Buttons, Mr. Drummer.
But so,
We have Do, bass player.
That's me. Everyone's going to start calling me Do now.
I'm Ryan. I play guitar and sing. And then we have the return of hopefully a slightly smarter AI Tigbot.
some upgrades.
Beep,
updates.
boop, hello. Oh my gosh, a huge retraction.
Yes.
I was going to say improvement. Couldn't even tell he was a robot last time.
This week, we're going to be talking about The Bells of Notre Dame, which is a really long time coming cover that we wanted to work on. It was kind of like one of the first reasons I wanted to do this podcast. For years in Bear Ghost, we've always done these covers, and it's been this kind of idea of we need to cover something that is not within the rock genre, that everybody knows and that nobody has covered. And anything outside of that we've wanted to cover, it's been like no one's going to like this song or care about this song, so we were just like, well, we should just cover whatever we want, and then we can just like talk about why we did it, and then we never have to play it live, which is really good because this song today especially would be impossible.
Yeah,
We will not do it justice live.
it would be
but you
terrible.
guys were.
We didn't even do it justice on the recording.
Yeah. I remember when I first auditioned for you guys wanted to do Hunchback. I'm like,
He
Or
walked
Bells of Notre Dame. I
through
was
the
like,
audition doors, and
you
we
wanted
said,
to do
sit
a
down.
Hunchback.
Yeah. We said,
We're gonna-
sit down. We're going to tell you about the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Picture this. Morning in Paris, the city awakes.
Picture this. We were both butt naked.
Whoa.
you installed the right updates on this.
I think I did, but he starts every story that way. I'm like, Tigbot, how do you make cinnamon cookies? It's like, picture this. You're both butt naked.
Then preheat the oven to 350.
Sorry, you were saying Buttons about
No,
Bells?
I just remember like which song, and then you were like Bells of Notre Dame. I was like, how would we cover that? And at the time, I was
we
sort of-
didn't even know at the time.
when I just joined you guys, like, yeah, we can totally make some kind of cover of it. I just didn't know what.
Right.
And then the thought just left me after that.
So here's the thing. Andrew and I started writing this cover 10 years ago.
Ryan and I lived in a 2-story house with 14 other people. This was back in the very early days of that because you were in the room next to me, which you later moved downstairs. I wrote this opening bass line in your room. So this had to be, 2011 maybe?
I had kind of the chords of the original song. We knew that we wanted it to have like the sort of Danny Elfman, like, la, 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 la.
And that's why he's the lead singer.
So that was kind of the thing. And we wrote all the way through the first verse and then into like, and the bells, and had the heavier part. Yeah. When we picked it back up to write it for this podcast, I couldn't remember why we stopped. And as soon as we got past that part, I remembered, oh yeah, because the song's in 3/4, we decided to do this in 4/4. I do not know what we're supposed to take out, how we're supposed to do this song that has all this dialogue and stuff in it. That was a real trick.
And that's the thing is it's once you get past that part of the song and you go into the Dark Was the Night part, it's so reliant on visuals, and there's a whole middle section that's all like this Latin chanting and a chase scene, and I was just like, I have no idea how we're gonna do this. And then we have the whole like dialogue between him and the preacher at the end, and
We pretty much just made an executive decision not to put any of the dialogue in.
I mean we did some of it.
Name one
In
dialogue we put
melody
in.
version. You said, "What should I do?"
That's not
In your
melody.
best Tony.
So what
What's
should I
his name?
do?
Tony
I
something?
just went like this. I went, what should I do? And then
we
we
pitched it
dropped
down,
yeah,
yeah.
we dropped it down 2 octaves. And it sounds exactly like him.
It does.
It's pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, so we basically took out all of the dialogue.
The care for the child part was dialogue.
It was just like, man, what a struggle to put all that together. Andrew mentioned the chase scene throughout that. I was just like, I was grabbing parts from the chase scene to put into like riffs and help them with the key changes and stuff like that. So I tried to use as much from the song as I could. and turn it into a rock song that makes sense as a song. But I definitely don't think we succeeded in making it make sense as a song. Like, I don't think it can come on the radio and people would be like, that is a straightforward jam.
Yeah, no, you have to kind of know where it's going a little bit. Like we had to imply the whole like there's a whole part where he's chasing the woman and he like scares her with his horse and she falls and hits her heads and she hits both of her heads.
Jeez.
And she dies. And then he's like, here, innocent blood you've spilled. And that whole thing, we can't put that in the song. It's a visual cue. And there's no lyrics or dialogue to cover it.
So if anybody wants to make one of those like old school YouTube videos where you just like put all the visuals from
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, from Dragon Ball Z. Oh my gosh, those were the days. Just watching a Dragon Ball Z with like Seether in the background or something.
So
that
the lady
that
dies
aged us.
in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
It's in the intro.
Yeah, she was just a random
spoiler
lady.
alert next time.
Oh yeah, sorry. Spoiler alert for the first 4 minutes of Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's one of those things where I was like, how are we going to put this together? And then I was like, we're doing a cover of the intro of a musical number. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, we'll just make it like so much of even Jiminy I wrote with the idea of thinking about things as like theatrical musicals where I'd be like, here comes the bridge and this is where the dance number is. You know what I mean? So like I was always like kind of picturing things like that. So it made sense to do that here. And I think it worked for the most part. Another struggle was the fact that I think the song's like 7 minutes, and I was like, we're going to make it 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
You guys crammed a lot in three.
It's actually pretty impressive. I mean, to take a song that's that long, that's so reliant on again like visuals and dialogue, and condense it. I mean, the first person I showed it to was our friend Jared because it's his favorite Disney song from his favorite Disney movie, and he gave ringing endorsements.
Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. Good job, dude.
Because it's Bells.
Oh, right.
Hold for applause. Thank you.
Hold. You want me to do it again?
No.
Just like in real life.
Yeah.
That's what happens after we finish playing a song live. It's like, thank you.
I didn't know that was Jared's favorite song and movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. He said it was one of he said it was at least
Probably. I don't know. Who cares?
he said it was at least one of the two.
You guys will hear a lot about our friend Jared. We'll probably bring him on the show at one point because we have so many questions. Because he's a smart guy. He's an aerospace engineer. And so we have...
Whenever we have questions about space, we're going to bring him on the podcast.
This really is a podcast about the sciences.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
We're not gonna look anything up online or do our own research. We're gonna bring our smart space friend.
We have big questions to ask. What is science?
I should know this.
You're made of it. You're made of science.
Wasn't it downgrade?
Yeah, it's all the stuff.
He's running on the alpha firmware now.
So I think I know we have a lot of younger listeners. Is Disney cool anymore? Was it ever cool?
He's actually dead.
Oh, that's true.
We're mostly fans of older stuff that even predates us.
Well, Hunchback's from like 96,
I know,
97.
but
The Renaissance era?
We're it's
Yeah.
Renaissance era for sure, but we are fans of a lot of old Disney stuff, and by that I don't mean like the old movies. I mean like the
racist stuff.
this song actually started because we sat down one day and we were like, we should make a whole Disney cover album, and this was the first thing on our list.
Well, we'd already done Jungle Book, right?
We'd already done Jungle Book, and we had already finished, or I think we were in the process of deciding what we were going to do next, and it was between this and Prince Ali.
Well, it
was between this and Friend Like Me, and Friend Like Me was a boring cover, so we switched it to Prince Ali.
Yeah, I didn't have any ideas for it. You know what I mean?
Because we did that whole song, if you remember.
Nope.
We sat in the living room and we learned the whole song and we were singing it, and I think we played it like 3 or 4 times, and you were like, "This sucks," and it did.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I do believe you. Yeah, man, there's so many Disney covers that I would like to do. When it comes to my favorite Disney songs, this literally isn't even
No.
on the top of my list. You know what I mean? It works great as like an intro song for The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I still have a list. No spoilers here, but I have a list of, I think it's 8 or 9 songs that we picked out that are all from different movies.
It's never going to happen.
You say that, but if we keep making these podcast episodes that are so interesting,
One of the ways that we came up with the covers that we were going to do on this podcast is each of us picked 3 songs. The Bells of Notre Dame was one that Andrew picked. One of my songs is also a Disney cover. So hopefully that's cool.
I picked the same song 3 times. It was Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baja Men.
You're my son's favorite. I remember at Andrew's wedding, they played "Who Let the Dogs Out." And
What?
we put it on our playlist specifically for Ryan's son.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen him much because he was with his Nana and Poppy, so that I could be like, because I was best man and everything. And the song started and way from the background, you're just like, oh! And then my son runs out to the dance floor, and
The only one on the dance floor, by the way.
and everybody else.
Wonder why.
Yeah. It was cute until all the guests started throwing stuff at him. Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, they started throwing booze at him.
That was my wedding.
Yeah, it was a really hostile environment. Seeing as it's a 6-minute song that we narrowed down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it was kind of a struggle to make sure that there were parts that were musical in there that didn't just have vocals over them the whole time. Don't you laugh at me. You don't think I'm doing a good job of hiding it?
There's parts that are like musical.
So
Rick Sanchez.
before we started recording, I sat everybody down and I said, no burping.
Oh, the irony.
And it's a rule that's so far only applied to me. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job.
Just can't wait till you hear all the dead air because of your burping.
Movies. Anyways, I don't even remember what I was saying now.
No one does. Anyway, let's
Oh,
move
you're
on.
condensing it down from 7 minutes to 3:30 or whatever.
And still making it musical.
Yeah, and still.
Yeah, we didn't want there to just be like vocals over the whole thing. And some of that too, there was like musical cues where I was just like, well, this music part is really, really great, but I need to take this other boring part from the song and make sure that I can put this melody over this part that never had this melody over it, like the Judge Claude Frollo longed to rid the world of vice and sin or whatever that lyric is. That melody does not go over that part.
No.
But I made it, and I think it worked really well.
And it's nice because it's the Hellfire melody, which is his song in that movie. So it's a nice little like.
Yeah, don't come after us, Disney. I think that makes it a derivative.
It does not, because the Hellfire melody is in that intro song as well. So we're still taking a part from that song.
Thank you, Andrew. What do you say, Tig, about the legal repercussions of
You're
So where does Hunchback rank for you guys
In terms of like Disney movie greatness?
in terms of all movies? Literally from the first movie of the train coming at the audience all the way until
I'd probably put it around 4,700.
I was gonna say probably top 600, maybe.
what do you think, Buttons?
Top 500-ish.
That's way too high.
I actually think it's second for me, right behind the movie of the train coming right towards the audience. There was nothing like it before that. In order to see that, you would have had to have stood right in front of a train.
Yeah, it was a crazy movie.
Do you think that's true that people ran out of the theater because they were like afraid that it was an actual train? Do you guys
Yeah.
know this story?
Yeah.
Can you look it up, Tigbot?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. It's real.
Wow.
People are stupid.
People were very stupid back then. Now everybody's smart.
Everybody.
Before everybody like went into the theater to see that, they like stopped by the snake oil salesman who was outside. He was like, I got a bottle of hair growth fluid.
It'll protect you from oncoming trains. So anyway, Hunchback is underrated, I think. It's not anywhere near
Underrated, but at 500 is too high.
of all time, though. Of
Yeah,
every movie of all time.
All right, go ahead. Then list them.
Yeah, list 500 movies that are better than Hunchback. Because I can only name
Dawn
one: the
of-
train coming at the screen.
The Planet of the Apes.
Tim Burton's.
Yeah. No, well, I said the Dawn of, and I couldn't think Planet of the Apes.
Have you guys seen that Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie?
Oh, yeah, it's garbage.
It is one of the worst things I've ever
It's
seen.
so bad.
I don't think I've seen it.
Good.
Can you watch movies, Tig?
Yeah, I've just watched one right now.
Oh, which one?
That Tim Burton Planet.
Oh,
of the Apes.
how'd you like it?
Not very good.
Oh, yeah, it's not very good at all. I think that was the downturn of Tim Burton. Afterwards, he did do Sweeney Todd, which I thought was a
I like
nice
that one.
return to form, but I don't know if he's done a good movie since then.
Well, Sweeney Todd also is adapted. It's not an original work.
Yeah, but he's adapted many things
That's
since
true, because he
then.
did What We Do in the Shadows. And
No.
Wait, no, not
Wait,
that. What's
no,
the,
he
what's the
did Dark
vampire thing?
Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
What
And
we
then he
do in
did
the shadows
Allison-
is great.
It is.
Well, yeah, that's really good, but that's not.
That's Taika.
Yeah.
Going back to it, Hunchback is nowhere near the top echelon of Disney films, I think. I think it's very underrated, though, and it gets a bad rap because...
All right, what's more underrated, that or Emperor's New Groove?
Emperor's New Groove I do not think is underrated.
No,
Why do people in the internet think it's underrated then?
Because people don't know what underrated means.
Yeah,
Maybe.
No, the thing is like if you talk to anybody, like everybody likes Emperor's New Groove. Most people don't really think about Hunchback. I think Hunchback is weird tonally because all the gargoyle stuff is bullshit.
Yeah, and the song that they sing to him to be like, "You're a great guy" is the worst part of that movie.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, it's bad.
A guy like me, or is that from the sequel?
No, that's the one. That's how bad it is that it looks like it should be in the direct-to-video sequel. I think Hunchback kind of got buried a little bit because it came out in 1996, I think, and it was it was very critical of religious extremism in Hunchbacks, and that just didn't fly.
I think that's the weird thing. Like I remember my mom being like, "Oh no," because it's like, who is this for? They have the gargoyles and all the kids stuff, but then they have Hellfire. What do we say now? Romani?
Yeah, it's a slur now. You can't say the G word.
What do you call them? People?
Did you change the lyrics to that,
guess,
by the way? Like what?
We did, yeah.
What were?
Roma.
Oh, got it.
We called them Roma the first time and Travelers the second time. Also, For Fright and Roma slid silently onda is a cool rhyme.
I couldn't figure out how I was going to rhyme it, and then I remembered that Tenacious D song.
Take off your blouse and your underpants.
Anyways, I do think it's underrated, whereas Emperor's New Groove is just like universally loved.
Well, yeah, because certain
Not
parts of
me.
that movie
I
was
hate
just
it.
very
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you not like jokes?
No, I'm not a big fan. I don't like humor too much. But Emperor's New Groove, I don't know. I never saw it.
When you say underrated with Emperor's New Groove, I think that's more about the fact that it's not celebrated the same way like Beauty and the Beast is or other movies from the Disney Renaissance.
It's not really marketed like a marquee Disney movie.
And it was when Disney was kind of on its way out of the Renaissance era as well.
Yeah.
They've been around that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, he was the first
He drew
animator.
Ariel, the first film of the Disney Renaissance. Anyways, what were you saying, Buttons?
I already forgot.
Excellent.
Because what came out after Hunchback?
There's a bunch.
Oh, Hercules.
Yes.
That's what came out
Because
after.
Pocahontas was
Yeah.
before Hunchback and Hercules
Right.
was after.
I was like literally going through my
Of
childhood.
those three
I'm like,
movies, what's the best one?
Hercules.
Hercules,
Hercules,
for sure.
I mean, back,
All three of those are Alan Menken scores, though. So Alan Menken is probably
composer?
like,
One
yeah,
of the best
he's
composers ever.
He's a great composer in the sense of musicals, though. Not so much in like movie score. You think like John Williams and Giacchino and stuff like that. But Alan Menken is much
I definitely
more...
think of Alan Menken.
Alan Menken, I feel like, is much more in the vein of like musicals and Broadway style.
Sure. I mean, that's where he came from.
Yeah.
that's where he was born.
Yeah, he was
I'm
born
not,
in a
I'm not trying
music
to take
hall.
away from him at all. But
He was the original Phantom of the Opera.
Cool. Interesting fact.
That song's about
he was
him.
also the Fiddler on the Roof.
He was
What
also
can't this guy
he was
do?
also the Cats.
And Citizen
All of
Kane.
them?
And he was Citizen Kane. That famous Broadway musical, Citizen Kane. Remember that joke from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in like the first season when Charles Boyle's trying to take out Rosa, which I'm so glad they got rid of that plot point, but where he's like buys tickets to see Citizen Kane.
She's just like, I don't like that movie. Pick a better movie.
He's like, sure, got it. Pick a better movie than Citizen Kane. Man, I think his scores are awesome.
They're great.
Like,
I wasn't trying to take away from him. I was just saying like he thrives more in the musical.
I need
vein.
you guys to know that Andrew's holding up a big sign that says Alan Menken sucks at writing scores right now. I was
Don't
wondering
say
why you
that
brought
when Alan
that.
Menken listens to this podcast. I
go
don't want him
of
to think
me.
I'm bad.
Alan Menken's 75 years old.
He should run for president.
He's too young. He's too young to run
He's
for
too young
president.
these days. I get all the time. People are like, okay, so like what kind of bands are you guys inspired by? Like what are your tastes? Like what make you sound like you? And I feel like everybody wants us to name off a bunch of like cool bands.
Like bands, yeah.
A lot of times we'd get Disney villain music in the early days. They'd be like, you're like Disney villains meet Queen. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy how influenced by musicals, especially Alan Menken, we are. Which is another reason why we wanted to do this podcast where we could like really do the stuff that influences us, whether or not it's like video game music or musical numbers or
I feel like a lot of the actual influences we have they're not bands.
Andrew and I went through a phase where all we listened to for 2 years was like jazz. And that really had a huge hand in influencing the way Bear Ghost sounds.
Oh yeah.
Or even just, we used to watch, I mean, to bring it back to Disney, I know we're nerds, dude, but just going to Disneyland all the time and hearing all the
ragtime.
Yeah, the music that they have there in like Main Street and then New Orleans Square. And it was just always stuff that we're like, oh man, this is awesome. Somebody should find a way to do this in a rock band. So we try, but none of us know anything about music theory. So we get as close as we can while still being garbage. Thank you for listening to us, everybody.
But yeah,
That's
a lot of
podcast.
the things we do, not structurally, but in terms of musical accents and stuff, come a lot from jazz and bigger musical scores.
Our understanding of jazz
Yeah.
for sure. But then, like I mentioned earlier, when it came to writing Jiminy, especially, it was like so many of the bridges and stuff like that. I was like, and here would be where there was a musical number. You know what I mean? Like this would be all of the cast would come out and dance and be jumping up and down and playing with streamers. What do people do? in
I think that's
musicals?
what people do.
Yeah, just people in general, not even on Broadway stages. Streamer stores are always, they're out. They're plumb out of streamers because. What's your favorite part of the song, Andrew?
Of our cover of it or the actual song?
Either one.
For the actual song, and I guess we'll just use this for the cover too, it's the climax. It's the ending with the climbing bells and then that hitting of the high note. It always felt like so impressive of a vocal feat to me. And I am going to gush on Ryan a little bit here. But when we went into the studio, he did that.
He did?
He did what? I know. I'm never going to say that again, though. After that, he went and did that climb into that high note over and over. And I think you must have done like 30 takes of it, and you just nailed it every time.
Thank you. I got the note, but for me, it was a matter of finding like the timbre that I wanted to use.
Right.
So it was like I kept like hitting the note and trying different things with my voice until like at first it was sounding too squealy, and then it was sounding too like then it was like too like open and bassy. So it was like trying to find a way that wasn't trying to imitate musical theater. That was a huge thing to fight against when recording the vocals for
The
this.
whole
is like,
musical theater?
Yes, exactly. I fought an entire musical theater. It's a great way to increase your breath support.
Yeah.
I will say. After doing that, I was in the hospital for a couple weeks. And then when I got out, I had great breath support. And I went into the studio to do that take that, as Andrew was saying, 30 times.
Just to clarify, I think that's what he was getting at, is he didn't do it 30 times because he did 29 bad takes. He was just doing different things. And you can fact check that because it's in our Discord. The day that we were in the studio, someone mentioned something about, oh man, this note that Ryan hits in this song is so cool. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm in the studio with him right now. And he's just nailing this high D over and over and over again.
Is it a D?
Do you just assume in general people don't believe what you're saying?
Have you been on the Discord? Andrew, before he says anything, he says, I mean this. Believe me.
You can fact check.
You can fact check everything.
Sometimes I've come a long way vocally, so there was a part of me that wanted to just do like big, grand Broadway styles. I mean, I'm not as good as those people, but like it was really hard to kind of be like, okay, well, how do I sound like me and still give it the juice?
There's a certain vibe that you have when you're doing something in a musical theater sense versus what you're doing on like a rock song. Even when we were doing backup vocals, like I went and did my first couple takes and you were just like, you're not on a stage.
What do you think, Tigbot? How is it hearing music for the first time?
So far, it's okay. I guess music's a thing I could probably get into a little bit. I would say my favorite part was probably the instruments and then maybe the vocals too.
He likes 100% of the parts. How much of the instruments do you like? 100.
My favorite part is definitely after the "What shall I do?" That dialogue you put there. Whatever you did for the riff, it gave me like Diablo Swing Orchestra vibes, man. Yeah, man. I was just like,
that was all Ryan.
probably one of my favorite things that I've heard you like come up with. I'm like, dude, this
Thanks,
is
man. That was tough. I got
well
to
executed though.
I got to the end of the part right before the "What should I do?" and literally texted Andrew and was like, "What should I do? I have no idea what to do after this part." Dude got back to me and he was just like, I don't like a gospel thing. I think might work because it's like they're out in front of the church and
It's a preacher talking.
Yeah, and especially because we were having, if you guys remember the beginning part of the song, it's like real goofy and fun, and then it gets like super serious. So I was like, how are we going to get back into this verse that's goofy again? And so Andrew was just kind of gave me that idea, and then I was like, great, I have no idea how to write gospel music, and I do not think I succeeded.
It's a vibe that you took and kind of ran with it and went your own direction.
I need everybody to know that the following songs are not going to be to that level of insanity.
We are giving you unreasonable expectations, and we're going to just disappoint you for the rest of the season.
They're
We
a lot
apologize in
more,
advance.
a lot more dialed back after that one. I spent a lot of creative energy on that one. The rest of them are probably just going to be shittier versions of the same song. Also in Bells, I think it was like my first real forte into trying to do like my first journey, my first foray into trying to write more like orchestral stuff. And I got to tell you, I did not do a great job. Luckily, I have a friend named Nick Davies who Nick Davies, who I met at a show, and he came and he asked me to be in an ABBA tribute band, and I said, "Are you kidding me? Of course." And then I toured around with that ABBA tribute band for a while. But he is a phenomenal composer. I really recommend going and checking him out, especially if you guys like Ben Folds or Rufus Wainwright or something like that. He's very in that vein. But I sent him all the MIDI files of everything that I had written because I was like, I like these parts, but they sound like my dog played them on a Casio keyboard. Can you please just redo them with better instrumentation? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then he sent me a message back and he's like, I got a little carried away. And he sent me like a full orchestrated version.
It was overwhelming.
It was tap dancing all over my original version.
I mean that in a good way. No, it was overwhelming.
For a long time, all I could listen to was his version because it's just like, I loved how overboard he went. And that, again, it sounds like an insult, but it was not. It was just too good to be true. It literally felt like we were in this huge auditorium and Bear Ghost was playing on this tiny little stage surrounded by 80 orchestras. Like it was such a huge amount of sound. And he sent me the original raw files and stuff like that so I could mix it. But I am not a good mixer. So Jeremy and I were in the studio trying to figure out how we were supposed to get 3 billion instruments into an already mixed rock and roll track. It didn't really work. So a lot of his stuff is still in there. It's just like not as loud. But anytime you hear something that sounds extremely awesome and you're just like, oh my gosh, did they record with an orchestra? Did you hear that string run? That's his work.
Yeah.
Also
all Nick.
Yeah, all Nick. And all the tambourine you hear in the song is all Nick as well.
Which is weird because Ryan's usually all over the tambourine.
It's so funny. The tambourine in the rough mix was so drowned out that he didn't know it was in there. So he put a lot of tambourine over parts that already had tambourine. And in the studio, I had Jeremy take out all of my tambourine and put in that guy's radical tambourine. I want to try and find something so you guys can hear what he did. Okay, yeah, so there's this part right after the second little riff part when I do this Judge Claude Frollo sought to rid the world of vice and sin or whatever, and mine is the crappiest MIDI oboe, and then he did this. So some people are impressed when I tell them that we write all of our music and I don't know anything about music. I'm not educated in the realm of music. Neither is Nick Davies, and somehow he comes out with that.
Yeah,
so
that's radical.
Yeah. So look up Nick Davies and worship him. All right, that's enough about him. More about Bear Ghost.
Bear Ghost.
Andrew, that face doesn't come through the podcast mic.
It sure doesn't.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could hear it. Everybody listen closely.
Oh, yeah, actually.
Oh, wow. Listen to those lips on teeth.
You can hear that grimace.
Oh, my gosh. We're not used to having microphones that are
this badass.
Thank you for all of your guys' Kickstarter money that allowed us to get these awesome podcasts that are so good that we can hear Andrew's lips on his teeth.
We can hear them through these podcasts.
We can hear him smiling.
Also, I don't think we've talked enough about how amazing it is that we can hear an AI Tigbot through all of our...
How'd you do that?
How did you do that? Oh, right.
What is science?
That's right. That was the moral of this episode.
We still haven't figured it out yet. Yeah, the moral.
So how about that Star Wars, huh?
Anybody out there seen Skeleton Crew? We'll wait.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan so far as well. At the time of recording, there has been 2 episodes released. Honestly, being a long-time Star Wars fan, I started watching it and I was almost cringing at how 80s suburbia it was. But within 10 minutes, I was like, this is great.
I thought that was cool that they made it feel like nostalgic. Stranger Things nostalgic, even though it's in a galaxy far, far away.
Well, and then even more
I couldn't have said it better myself, Tigbot.
Even more so by the end of the second episode, you find out that this is like an isolated planet that just has their own little society that nobody even thinks exists. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's almost cooler to me that they are like this dumb little offshoot of 80s Earth.
Yeah. Spoiler.
Oh, no. This will air mid-January. So.
That's true. If you haven't caught up on the hit show of the season yet, do people like it?
I don't know. I don't think I haven't heard lashings about it.
It's so weird. It's like I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've been watching lately, nobody is saying anything about. Like Penguin, Tigbot's the only one I know that's seen it. And it takes him like half a second to watch through an entire series.
I'm just a massive nerd for intellectual property, and I love me some Star Wars and Marvel stuff, so I'm always going to be on those.
Penguin's intellectual property.
It is, but I haven't watched it yet, and I was a massive Batman fan, so I'm surprised I haven't.
You did lose a lot of weight. This is very much what the podcast is about.
Yeah.
Let's go to another
All right,
commercial.
let's be right back.
Are you down in the dumps? Of course you are. I'm Frank Lawyer, and I can get you a cash settlement no matter what you got going on. Car accident?
Settlement.
Workplace harassment?
Settlement.
Medical malpractice?
Settlement.
Murder? Victim or suspect?
You get a settlement.
I will get you the money that you deserve. And I will get the money that I deserve by taking a cut of the money that you deserve. So call Frank Lawyer today at 1-800-FRANK-LAWYER will get you the money that you deserve.edu. That's 1-800-FRANK-LAWYER.edu. Call now.
And we're back.
I'm sure the shortest commercial I've ever heard.
That's all they can afford.
It's amazing that it was
prime spot to be the
$1 million.
We still took your Kickstarter money.
It's I believe next week is Peas and Love, baby.
Oh, yeah. Instrumental of Peace and Love.
It's been 2 weeks of the podcast, so pretty soon we'll probably have an announcement about an upcoming membership tier that everybody can subscribe to for extra monthly podcasts with the ability to maybe call in and we will answer voicemails and stuff. Maybe we play one of those Star Wars card games Andrew's so fond of.
Audio only.
Just
You obviously play a lot of card games.
all right. Anyways, that's been this week's episode of Bear Ghost Events, the podcast. Tune in next week where we'll be talking about peas and love. We love you.
We peas and love you.
We peas and love you. Everybody says bye. Bye. Wait, let's try this. Bye. Bye. Flawless.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us and listening again. Special thanks to all of our Kickstarter backers. Stay tuned next week where we discuss Peas and Love from Jiminy. See you then.